Okay, so here we are live, and we've got another Eagle Force unboxing. Teeny tiny little Eagle Force logo up there from the world of Eagle Force. And this is a subset called the Blade Cuts Both Ways. The Blade Cuts Both Ways. It is Frank Walsh. He is figure number one in this series. It's the only one I have, at least so far. And the back says Sonny Yen and Frank Walsh have been framed for a crime they didn't commit after the shocking murder of Silicon Valley tech icon David Zapper Levesque. Members of the elite military strike team Eagle Force Sonny Yen and Frank Walsh should become prime suspects as they flee from the scene. The investigation soon unravels a web of secrets as an ancient Japanese weapons used to commit the crime links Sonny to his mysterious upbringing by the notorious Black Hand Ninja Clan. As evidence mounts, retired Eagle Force Commander Lieutenant Shiru Kato Kawamura, mobilizes a team of martial arts experts called the Talon Company to bring them to justice. In a surprising twist, both Sonny and Frank claim their innocence, implicating KO's old foe Savitar as long believed deceased. Now Sonny and Frank must unravel a web of deception, pitting loyalty against duty in a race against time to unearth the real killer before it's too late. In a world where shadows hold secrets and alliances blur, will the truth prevail or will history repeat itself? Now, you see what I'm talking about? Where I say they've developed a pretty deep and dense mythos around this Eagle Force line, like already. Complete your collection at www.bigbadtoystore.com. So I believe this is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, most of the other figures, if not all the other figures that I've gotten in this line so far. Uh, and then the cross-sell artwork on the back is Frank Walsh, Savitar, Sonny Yen, the Goblin, and the Fog. Now, there is a little bit of controversy about this line as allegedly the artwork that was used on this was created by AI, or at least with an AI assist. I don't really know anything about that. I do think that from my eye, it looks a lot like AI artwork, but honestly, it's getting to the point where I think like regular human artists are going to be inspired by AI art aesthetics. So it's getting kind of hard to tell what's AI and what's not. I know there was at least one DC Comics cover where somebody said it was AI. I think it was a Shazam cover, and the guy actually produced his pencil sketches that were used to rough out everything. So it looks like that maybe wasn't. I don't know. I'm not here to cast judgment on the guy one way or the other, but but yeah, as AI art becomes more prevalent, I think more human artists are going to kind of try to copy the style subconsciously or consciously because it's just going to become so prevalent. So that's I don't know. There's a lot of ethical questions as to the use of AI in terms of artwork, and it's kind of beyond like the scope of this show for me to get into debating all that. So, if it bothers you that much, don't buy these figures. That's all I can say. But I pre-ordered this before I'd even seen any packaging of it. I just assumed it would be in the same kind of packaging as the rest of the figures. So that was a surprise to me when I opened it up and it had this box in it. So then I had to look into, well, what's the deal with that? And that was where I stumbled across that controversy. And there is a comic strip on the inside of this. So that's something that this has in common with the original Eagle Force packaging, that the standard modern Eagle Force packaging does not have a comic strip on it. But let's go ahead and read the comic strip. So it's got like a little Tinder looking smartphone panel there. And it says, "Hello, ladies. I date her." That's what the fake Tinder is called. And it says, "Frank, 25. Really small print. It's kind of hard for me to make out, but I want to say that like I kind of zoomed in on it on my phone, and it says something about like Dad always said not to sweat the small stuff, especially when you've got the big stuff. But like I said, really tiny print. I've got old man eyes, so it's not so easy for me to spot. But it says he's 25 years old, which I kind of doubt. He does not look like he's 25. Frank Walsh is my name, and adventure is my game. I'm a guy on the move, rarely in the same place twice, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that's supposed to be a metaphor or what, but it shows him hanging off a train, and then behind a roulette table, chugging down some booze while this lady's screaming on the other side, gunshots going off. I like the simple things: cold beer, some dice, and lady luck blowing in my ear. I'm probably blowing something else, you perv. My dust ups in Little Tokyo spilled some blood on foreign soil. Former Eagle Force now on the run because my best friend was framed for a murder he didn't commit by a ninja clan for reasons we still haven't discovered. So there are 1,000 people looking for us with guns, throwing stars, and ghost masks. And then they are on the run in their Eagle Force outfits, which, unlike the original Eagle Force outfits, which were gold with black accents, this is like black outfits with gold web gear. Looks kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit. And then back to the iDater smartphone thing, and it says, not looking for anything serious, DTF, swipe me. DTF? Definitely not a kid's toy. You don't know what DTF looks like. If you don't know what that means, you're just going to look that up yourself. I'm not going to explain it to you. All right, so let's go ahead and take him out of the package. And one thing that you might have noticed about this particular character already is that he bears a slight resemblance to a character from a well-beloved movie. One of my favorite John Carpenter movies called Big Trouble in Little China. And he looks a little bit like Jack Burton, as played by Kurt Russell. So that was a 20th Century Fox. I was going to say 25th century because of Buck Rogers. That was a 20th Century Fox movie, so that means it's now owned by Disney. Kurt Russell was a child star when he was first starting out as a kid, and apparently Walt Disney's last words were Kurt Russell. So it all comes full circle, and hopefully they won't have any big trouble from the lawyers, because Disney lawyers can be kind of savage. So there we go. It's not an exact reproduction, probably enough to be legally distinct from the Jack Burton character, but he's got the same sort of white tank top with a vaguely Asian design on it, but in this case, it's not a kabuki-looking character like it was in that one. It is actually a Golden Age comic book character called the Claw, who I believe is now public domain. And Fresh Monkey Fiction has taken advantage of public domain characters before. In fact, in this very line, one of the characters that they made into a figure was public domain superhero the Black Terror, among others. So yeah. The other main difference that I can spot between this guy and Jack Burton is I believe Jack Burton wore jeans and he is wearing camouflage pants. The head sculpt does look kind of vaguely like Kurt Russell. Certainly enough that it could pass for Kurt Russell. If you want one that looks a little more like Kurt Russell, Marauder Task Force has a head that looks a lot like Kurt Russell. And then we have the Eagle Force stand. Pretty standard with these figures. Standard. And where did I put the other? Oh, there it is. Okay, we'll just keep those together. Two insert pieces. And of course, there's a little shot of Tokyo on the cardboard insert in the package. Let's have a look at that. All right. So Frank Walsh. Now let's get this back in here, and that's easier said than done. Okay, so let's talk about his articulation. I notice his legs are a little looser than most of these has been, so hopefully that won't be a problem. Thankfully, he does come with a figure stand, so that's going to help out a lot with that. Frank can't look up very high because of his mullet. He can look down about that far. He tilts his head kind of quizzically from side to side. If he's anything like Jack Burton, he's probably easily confused. Head rotates all the way around. He does have a backpack hole in his back. I forgot to mention that I think, as a standard thing in these figures, but I probably should. So if you want to put a backpack in there, you can probably fit a standard size modern style backpack, like from 25th anniversary GI Joe or from Marauder or whatever. Arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders, and they go up about that far. So good range of motion on the arms. He does have a single joint of articulation at the elbow. That's what it looks like when it's straightened out. That's what it looks like when it's bent up. So a little more than 45 degrees. And of course, the elbow rotates all the way around. The wrist rotates all the way around and has a vertical joint, which is what I like to have on gun-toting figures. He does have the more modern style articulation at the waist. It's made kind of like an 80s G.I. Joe figure, but it's not on a O-ring, it's on a ball joint. But it does give you the same type of movement. Leg kicks up about that far, leg kicks back, not too far because he's got butt cheeks. There is a thigh cut, so the thigh rotates all the way around. Double jointed knees, knees bend back about that far. Actually, that's not quite far enough because the top joint didn't go. That seems to be a little jammed up, but we got that. We got it taken care of. So go all the way back like that. Oh, these figures have boot cuts. I forgot to mention that on the other figures. I forgot to even check for it, but yeah, they do have boot cuts. Toe dips down about that far, toe points up about that far, and it's on like one of these funky ball joints so that you can move that around any which way you want to. So that is cool. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the articulation. The paint apps are really good on this figure. Like I said, he's got this kind of tampograph of this Golden Age supervillain on the front of his shirt. So that's got some nice detail to it. I had actually thought about replacing this with a decal that was a little more accurate to what Jack Burton had in the movie. But once I realized it was the claw, I wanted to keep it. So let's go ahead and talk about his accessories. He does have a few. Not as impressive as the accessories that came with our Crimson Moon figures, but still, I think a good complement of accessories. So we've got the shoulder holster, which I believe is the same shoulder holster that would have come with the Legionnaire, and similar to what came with Chuck here. But it is molded in brown plastic rather than black plastic. Let's go ahead and put that on him. So fold his arms back and then just slip it over the arms. And there we go. Now he's got his shoulder holster. And the shoulder holster has a little Walther PPK, just like what came with Legionnaire. Let's go ahead and put that in his hand. Let's see what he looks like with that in his hand. Pretty cool. But of course, the Walther PPK is the standard armament of Bond, James Bond, and not the standard armament of Jack Burton. No, we know what the standard armament of Jack Burton is. This is a little funky submachine gun here. I forget the name of it, but it is cool that he comes with that, because that's what we think of Jack Burton is coming with. So if we want our full Jack Burton effect, there it is. Now, I do believe that the bottom half of this is compatible with Marauder Task Force figures. So if you did want to replace this with some jeans, they have the jeans that come with the white t-shirt body. So it shouldn't be too hard to get a hold of some of those. And then you can make like a proper Jack Burton if you wanted to. I think I'm going to keep this guy like this. Even if I wanted to use him as Jack Burton, I can always pretend he just has a change of clothes. So he's got to be wearing the wrong shirt anyway. So let's go over all these hands that he comes with, because he came with a bunch of hands. So we have, for the left and right, we have these kind of open hands. And then for the left and right, we have these sort of saluting / karate chopping hands. And then for the left and right, we have two solid fists. And for the left and right, we have two gripping hands that don't have trigger fingers. So you could use those for like bladed weapons or whatever. Oh, and he does have two of these submachine guns. I forgot to mention that. So let's go ahead and put both of those into his hands. Shasha. Now, the main reason, like I said, that I pre-ordered this figure in the first place is because he is kind of, an homage to Jack Burton, who's one of my favorite characters in Big Trouble in Little China, which is one of my favorite movies, and that made him really cool for me. But he's pretty cool in his own right. He's got a lot of things about him that I think are neat. The emblem of the claw on the shirt, that's pretty cool. Like I said, you could imagine this being like an alternate version of Jack Burton, or he works just as well as his own character, I think. The legs are really loose on this one, though. And that hasn't really been a problem on these Eagle Force figures so far. This is the first one I've encountered like this. So I'm almost wondering if maybe this is just where, like, it's an example of, like, just the one that I got has this problem. But be forewarned if you do order this figure that was a problem on mine, and it might be a problem on yours. There are ways to tighten up the legs, various methods you can use that you can research. But I think the first thing I'm going to try is hitting it with a hair dryer and seeing if maybe the joints will just tighten up on their own. Like maybe it was just in the packaging awkwardly, and that might fix it. But still, pretty cool action figure. That's just the one problem that I have with it. Thankfully, he comes with a stand, so that's going to help with that. He stands just fine on the stand, so no problem there. But just be forewarned about that. Anyway, that's it for my Eagle Horse figures that I got this week. I'll try to order some more of these in the future because I do like them. So hopefully they won't sell out before I get a chance to get some of the other ones I wanted. So that's pretty much it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure that you like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this figure and the movie Big Trouble in Little China. And we will talk to you next time. Bye.